All right, today we're tackling a small, but believe me, a vital part of your home's plumbing. It's the one thing you probably never think about until, that is, it causes a massive, expensive headache. Yep, we are talking about your outdoor faucet.
So let me ask you a question. What's that one piece of plumbing you use all spring and summer for the garden, for washing the car, but then completely forget exists the second the weather turns cold? You know the one.
You probably call it a spigot, maybe an outdoor tap. The technical name, though, is a hose bib. And trust me, knowing just a little bit about this thing can save you a whole lot of trouble down the line.
Okay, first things first. If you're putting in a new one or swapping out an old one, you've got to pick the right type. And you might be surprised to find out there's more to it than just grabbing whatever's on the shelf at the hardware store.
So this right here is the main decision you have to make. On one side, you've got your standard spigot. It's simple, it's cheap. But, and this is a big but, if you live anywhere that gets freezing cold, the frost-free spigot is an absolute game changer. Here's the genius of it. The actual valve that shuts off the water is way back inside the heated part of your house. This design keeps the water from sitting in the pipe and freezing solid. So really, your climate makes this decision for you. A little extra cash up front for that frost-free model can literally save you thousands of dollars in water damage. It's a no-brainer.
So once you know the type of spigot you need, you got to think about what it's made of. Brass is the classic, the gold standard for a reason. It's tough as nails and fights off corrosion. Stainless steel is another fantastic choice that'll last you a long, long time. The real goal here is just to find that sweet spot between maximum durability and the look you want for the outside of your house.
Okay, so you've picked out your spigot. Now what? How does this thing actually get installed? Look, we're not trying to turn you into a master plumber here, but just understanding the basic roadmap is really important.
The whole process really boils down to 5 key steps.
And it starts with the most critical one of all. You absolutely cannot skip this. Go inside and shut off the water supply to that pipe. Once the water's off, you drain the line, unscrew the old one, and put the new one on. And here's the secret ingredient, thread sealant. You put that on the threads before you screw the new one on, and it ensures you get a perfect watertight seal. Then, you can turn the water back on and check for leaks. It seems simple, but getting each step right is what counts.
And that brings us to this piece of advice, which you should really take to heart. If any of those steps made you feel a little nervous, especially when you're dealing with the more complicated setup of a frost-free model, the smartest and safest thing you can do is just call a licensed plumber. Seriously, paying a pro a small fee is so much better than paying a massive water damage cleanup bill.
Now, for all you confident do-it-yourselfers out there, here are 3 pro tips to lock in your memory. First, always use thread sealant or tape. It's a tiny detail that stops those annoying little drips. Second, double-check that the handle has enough room to turn all the way. You'd be surprised how often that gets overlooked. And finally, before you even buy the new spigot, check your local building codes to make sure you're doing everything by the book.
All right, you've picked it, it's installed. Now we get to what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole explainer. This is the simple maintenance that will prevent an absolute catastrophe.
The source material could not be clearer, and this quote really says it all. A burst pipe from a frozen spigot? We're not talking about a small leak. We're talking about thousands of dollars in damage to your foundation, your basement, everything. This is not something you want to mess with.
But here's the good news. Preventing that nightmare scenario is unbelievably simple. It's just 3 steps. Step 1, and this is non-negotiable. Disconnect your garden hose. This is the #1 rookie mistake because the hose traps water inside the spigot where it can freeze and expand. Step 2, find the indoor shutoff valve for that pipe. Turn it off, and then go back outside and open the spigot to let any leftover water drain out. And finally, just give it a quick look for any drips or obvious problems. That is it. You're done.
But, okay, let's shift gears. What if it's not winter? What if you're just dealing with that drip, drip, drip sound that's driving you slowly insane? Let's talk troubleshooting.
Oh, we've all been there. And that constant dripping isn't just a waste of water. It's basically your faucet's way of crying for help, telling you that a small part inside has worn out and needs a little bit of attention.
So where is that drip actually coming from? Well, 9 times out of 10, the culprit is a loose packing nut, which is that little nut right behind the handle. If that's nice and tight, your next likely suspect is just a simple, worn-out washer inside the faucet. More rarely, it could be a bigger problem, like a corroded valve stem.
So here is your faucet first aid plan. Start with the easy win. Grab a wrench and just gently, and I mean gently, give that packing nut about a 1/4 turn clockwise. A lot of the time, boom, problem solved.
If it's still dripping, the next step is usually to replace the washers inside. But if that still doesn't fix it, it's probably time to stop guessing and either replace the whole spigot or just call a pro to figure out what's really going on.
Okay, that was a fair bit of info. So let's boil it all down to the 3 most important things to remember. Number 1, choose wisely. If you get snow where you live, get a frost-free spigot. End of story. Number 2, winterize. Every single year. Get that hose off before the first freeze. And number 3, never ever ignore a drip. It's the small problem that tells you a big one might be coming.
And that leaves us with one final question for you. Whether you're getting ready for gardening season or bracing for winter, take a minute and just go look at your own hose bib. After hearing all this, is it the right one for your house? And is it truly ready for the season ahead? Thinking about that for 5 minutes right now could save you a world of trouble later.